What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Hopefully you had a good weekend overall. Had a lot of fun here. Took a look at the D-pad on the Switch Pro controller. Took a look at the entire week of Newswave from last week. And then, of course, we did the Spawncast Saturday night and had a lot of fun there. It was a pretty good weekend overall, but now we have this week to look forward to, which we are going to see Nintendo's financials for this past quarter. That should be coming out Tuesday into Wednesday. We'll see all of that, and we'll talk about that. All that here on the channel. Now, of course, today we have something really cool that we're going to take a look at, something that's really interesting to me, and that's Metroid Prime in Unreal Engine 4, and it's going to be really neat. We're going to talk about that, and I got to say, it looks pretty insane. That's all done by a fan, and it could give us a look at what maybe this new age Metroid Prime 4 could look like. It's hard to say. First, let's start with some of the quick news. We're going to start with CyberConnect 2. Now, we know them from the .hack series. They, of course, did the recent .hack GU remaster of the compilation of games. And then, of course, they also were the company that was kicked off of the Final Fantasy VII Remake game. Remember, we heard about that, how there were some issues internally, and they were let go from the whole thing, and Square took it and kind of brought it internal to the studio to make, I guess, communication easier. Well, they posted on Facebook after, I assume, tons of fans, who I'm sure continue to send them requests for it, talking about a possible new .hack series game. They want to do one, but it sounds like Bandai Namco is not interested at all, and I question the sales of the .hack GU series, to be honest, the compilation they did, because I don't remember it charting very well, and I don't really remember it being on the Steam sales chart very much either. So that could be something that put Bandai Namco off of this whole thing. And I also question if a .hack game would actually sell nowadays, if it really would do that well. But hey, I mean, Octopath showed that if you build a good game and you advertise it and kind of appeal to that nostalgic RPG, so maybe there is a spot for .hack. You guys will let me know. But they said, ask Bandai Namco. Send them tons of messages about it if you wanna see another .hack, because ultimately it's up to them. Also, we just recently talked about GameCube controllers that were going to be coming out, probably in time, of course, for Smash Bros. On the Switch. It looks like we're also going to see some from PDP. These look a little more like an off-brand controller, as you're seeing here. I guess the interesting thing about this is the detachable C-Stick. You're going to see pictures of all of that here. And while there's no release date at this time, other than just, I guess, the holiday is what they say, the whole point of the removable C-Stick is it can be replaced with like a full-size stick. So, of course, the C-Stick was kind of a little nub, and that was a complaint back in the day for the GameCube controller when it was like the system for Nintendo. And it looks like, I guess, them adding that like larger stick could help to remedy that situation. It will have a 10-foot USB cable, so it's a relatively long cable, but yes, it is still a corded controller. It's not wireless. It will have a Zelda, Mario, and Pikachu design, similar to the ones we saw that we talked about the other day. So there will be options. I don't know how many people are going to be interested in this. They probably want the one from Nintendo more than likely. And the off-brand one, I never really was a fan of the off-brand, weirdly shaped GameCube controllers. Even back in the day, it was kind of like, yeah, here you go. You can use this one. I'll use the nice one. You know, whenever people came over, they always got like the junky GameCube controller, and I got the nice one. And then we saw a tease for whatever the future for Etrian Odyssey is going to be. Now, of course, Etrian Odyssey X is coming out fairly soon in Japan. That's actually coming out August 2nd. And then they showed this teaser that you're seeing here for what appears to be the next Etrian Odyssey, some kind of teaser towards what they're going to do next. It does say, show the letters SQ, which stands for the Japanese variant of Etrian Odyssey for the title. So while we don't know what's happening, I think it's fairly clear that if they're going to keep Etrian Odyssey with Nintendo, which we assume they would move it to the Switch, as that's obviously going to be the hot ticket item in Japan here in the next couple months. Like I said, probably within half a year we'll see it past the PS4 in Japan, specifically with things like Pokemon and Smash and Mario Party and some other ones that are coming up that will help to push it over the edge. And obviously then all Japanese developers are going to be heavily looking at the Switch, just because I don't really know where, if it gets past the PS4 that fast, I mean, it could possibly be a 20 to 22 million seller, similar to the 3DS in Japan, and that would be massive for these Japanese developers, and you would see pretty much every single Japanese game in some way going to the Switch. And Etrian Odyssey with Atlas makes a lot of sense, obviously, to go to the Switch. I'll be curious to see what they would do with that kind of a power jump from the 3DS to the Switch, I think the series would look really cool there. All right, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's jump into some of the big stuff, and we're going to start right away with Metroid Prime being kind of envisioned as to what it would look like in Unreal Engine 4. Now, there are a lot of rumors right now swirling around Metroid Prime 4 being developed in Unreal Engine 4. I say rumors because we haven't really heard anything from, Nintendo or Bandai Namco, who we assume is also working on it. Nothing about any of that. But seeing this YouTube video that you're seeing here and how this game looks, or it could look, in Unreal Engine 4 is, I gotta say, it's jaw-dropping. It looks awesome. It really does. This is done by Milky Max over on YouTube. There's a link in the description if you want to go check that out. I'd like to see them maybe release just like a little tech demo build of this. Like we've seen other games. I've talked to you guys about. We did the Diddy Kong Racing video where we played that. Spyro, all different games that are kind of reimagined in Unreal Engine. But man, Metroid Prime looks unreal. Like no pun intended. It looks unreal with this setup. And man, I'm really curious what the Switch version is going to look like of Metroid Prime 4 after seeing what it could look like on obviously more powerful hardware with I'm sure this is running on like a decent PC or a good PC even. Just to see that, I'm very curious the art direction to go with Metroid Prime 4. I don't know if they'll go for a more realistic look just because of the Switch. They might kind of change it up or go for something a little more creative. The one thing they have to keep in mind, obviously, is the whole point of Metroid Prime is kind of the atmosphere that comes with it. And some of the stuff they achieved on the GameCube with those visuals, which I gotta tell you, if you go back and look at the GameCube version or emulate it on your PC and smooth everything out, it is phenomenally good looking. It still looks great. On the GameCube, you have the HDMI from Eon adapter. You're good to go. So I hope they do something really cool with the visual style here. But honestly, if they did something like this, I would be fine with it. It looks great. And that's the thing. If they can achieve a good set of visuals with Metroid Prime, good frame rate too, because when we play Metroid Prime, we think of 60 frames usually. And they can kind of paint that atmosphere, right? With those visuals, the sound. I'm just excited for Metroid Prime 4. I want to see something about it. But I think we gotta wait till next year to even see anything. Next up, let's talk about Digimon Survive very quickly. We did see a live stream from Bandai Namco where they showed off the game in full. We saw both versions of the game essentially. Now, I say both versions, there's technically two different aspects to the game. There's a part that's more story-driven, as you're seeing the trailer that they showed here, where they showed full gameplay for that. And it seems like you're going to be making decisions to, what they say, survive, so it's more of a cinematic part, where you change what the outcome, I guess, of the story or decisions will change it, but it kind of works in like you have a cursor that seems to move around the area, and you pick things, almost like a point-and-click kind of adventure, sort of, and it seems like there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of decisions and stuff that pop up in menus, and that's one aspect. And then you get into the battle aspect, and it turns into a full strategy RPG. Think of like a Final Fantasy Tactics, right? Maybe similar in a way to maybe like an ogre battle or something, but I look at this and I see kind of a Final Fantasy Tactics style game, and it looks like you'll use energy in the middle of battles to digivolve your different Digimon and everything. And it looks like a very standard setup for the battle, and then you have the more cinematic approach on the story side. I feel like it reminds me so much of something like a Final Fantasy Tactics, where we did have story parts where you would break away from action and then have lengthy parts of the story. But this is interesting with kind of the point and click aspect to it. I don't know. I like the battle. The other side, I'm not sure. But the story would have to be fairly engaging for you to care about the decisions you're making, right? But I don't know, we'll see more about it, and I assume get some English gameplay and trailers and stuff so we can maybe start to piece together what the story's going to be like. But right now, the gameplay at least looks traditional and standard, and for some people that's probably a good thing. I'd like to see a little more added in. Maybe you level up your Digimon, or you collect them as you go, and we'll see what else they have. But so far, we at least know what the visuals are. These are on the PS4, and we know there's two different aspects to the game. Next up, let's talk about an interesting part of gaming that is, I guess, a different aspect, different viewpoint to it. We talk about trophies, achievements, and we always, back in the day, right, when the 360 especially first came around, there were games that had easy achievements, right? And I feel like they might have been easy because it was an afterthought for the game, right? There are some games, I think Avatar was one where you could literally get like 1,000 gamer score in like 10 minutes, not even. You just had to do a large enough combo and you could do it in like the first area of the game. But I always wondered if there would be games that showed up that would have easy achievements just to be able to sell it easily, right? You're literally paying a couple bucks to get a platinum trophy. Well, apparently I wasn't the only one that was thinking that, because games have been showing up, and Kotaku did a very interesting piece on a certain game, and I'm going to show you some of the gameplay here of it that is on YouTube right now. And this is a game that has actually sold fairly well. In fact, it's called Little Adventure, and the developers behind it came up with the idea of this game when they realized they needed more money. And it's a very, very interesting part of gaming, I think. See, the developers here realized they were working towards a bigger game that they were developing. It's a bigger action RPG style game and everything. They were working towards it. They needed more money, so they came up with the idea to release a game to fund the game by making it $2 and making the platinum exceptionally easy to get. Like, you can get in less than an hour, and it's just a side-scrolling style game. You just swing your sword, you occasionally jump. The one review I could find on Metacritic was a 0 out of 10, so that should tell you all you need to know right there. But it's very funny, I guess, very weird in a way, and there's nothing really against it, I guess. Sony seems fine with it. Everyone's making money. I assume the person who bought it probably bought it after hearing from other people, since Kotaku reported there's a 90% completion rating on the trophies for this thing. So people are probably buying it from word of mouth, completing the platinum, and then they walk away happy, and then the company that obviously made it quickly, by the way, for funding, is happy too. I'm curious if we're going to see more and more of this as this gets out there, just for funding. Like, seriously, I mean, think about that. You could just release a game, as long as it falls in the guidelines of being a game, and then help to fund your big game just from selling it. I don't know. I'm curious if people would get frustrated by that, or if they're happy because, hey, it's an easy platinum. It's also funny to think that, yes, achievements, trophies, they really are addictive and fun for people to collect, to the point where it's worth buying a bad game just to get achievement points or trophies. We've seen it. It's happened for a while now, to where people were renting like college hoops 2K6 and stuff back in the day, because it was just so easy to get them, and you want that higher gamer score, you want that extra platinum trophy. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if developers started to really do this and just not mind putting it out there with their name, or maybe they just make a whole nother development studio to just make these games to help fund. I'll be curious if a Sony or a Microsoft would eventually put their foot down on it, or if they're just like, hey, everyone's happy and we're making our cut of 30%. Yeah, sure, go for it. And our last bit of news, let's talk about the new Labo Kit that was announced, coming out September 14th, $69.99. And it looks like it's a more intricate version of what we knew with, I guess, the motorbike racing that we did with the Variety Kit. This is interesting because the Joy-Con is a key. It also has like a submarine, and it's a full buggy and car and everything. You can even have, I guess, somebody man the turret while you're driving, almost like Mario Kart Double Dash. But it's really just a much more intricate version of that racing game from the Variety Kit. And honestly, I think it looks better than most of the stuff in that Variety Kit. I don't know how hard it's going to be to put this stuff together, as I'm sure some people got a taste of, well, this is for me or not, as we've seen with some people, like obviously Sean, he's probably not buying it now, but there are probably people who had a lot of fun with their kids, or maybe just adults had fun with it and they want to buy this one. I'm also curious if there'll be people on the other side of it that are like, well, these are just sitting around the house right now, and I'm not going to buy it again because my kids played with it for an hour and then threw it to the side. But I do think this one looks more interesting and more fun, just because of the added stuff. It has the pedal that you push down. That's kind of neat. I'm also be curious if they end up adding in anything with like Mario Kart 8, maybe a mode for that. Now they have like the pedal and stuff. That would actually be kind of a cool thing to do. I mean, it's essentially a steering column, or really how we would buy those steering wheel controllers and stuff. That's technically what this is. It's just made out of cardboard, and if they add it into like functionality with something like Mario Kart, I think that actually be kind of neat. And guys, that's where I'm going to leave Newswave today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button. It really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it's Metroid Prime in Unreal Engine 4. How do you think it looks? Etrian Odyssey going to, I guess, the Switch maybe? The new Digimon trailer? How about the information about people or developers creating games specifically for easy achievements and trophies to then get quick money for another game? Let me think about all this stuff, guys. Make sure you get subscribed for all gaming news, technology related content. Have a lot of fun here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. for Newswave.